the day hasn't
So my
started.
chips will already be in play by default.
I thought the day had already started. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just thought this started at 10 a.m.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody?
What's going on right now?
To another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and Mr. 10-3 suited himself. What is poppin', Landy?
He's back.
Look, guys, Dora was 10-2 suited. I got 10-3. Jake Cody, 6-bet jam, 10-4 off. Them beat aces. You know, everyone's got to have their 10x hand.
Yeah.
Jay Cody was gangster as fuck. I'm sorry, I don't mean to take this away from you, but like, you ain't that breed, bro.
You want me to try?
No.
I'll do it again.
No. Just, you know, these older school online guys, when we were figuring shit out, we didn't have any books or machines or anything like that to tell us like what was okay. We just decided everything was okay. There was some shit.
Patrick told me the reason why he got into poker was he was at a live event and Jake Cody peeled his cards a little bit too high and Patrick was watching and saw Jake Cody like just go for it with an absolute wild Rocket Man hand. And he was just like, oh, I guess this is how bluffing works. And now here's Patrick 18 years later.
It's not really all that far off. There was an epic hand. I don't remember if it was a scoop final table or W Coop or I believe it was on Stars. I'm almost positive.
I know about one of those.
Where it was like 8 bets pre. And I think it was, I want to say his last name was Oliver. I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
But he was just like notorious. Him and Mormon were like the most notorious clickers of all time pre-Black Friday.
As preparation, I watched the YouTube video of Mormon Soldier.
Never saw it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It was something that somebody made about Middleton.
Thomas?
Yes.
Mitty? Hit the hole?
Yes.
Hit the hole, hit the hole,
And
hit the hole.
It was like a music video basically memeing how Mormon backed everybody back in the day. And I didn't know all of this stuff, but I'm sure you guys did. This was back during your time.
Oh, man. There were times where like, it was Chris Oliver. That was his name.
Okay.
He was just a notorious gangster.
They are the people that win.
Yeah, but there were times like, I don't know how public all of this is. I'd be really curious to see if like Mormon has told his story on podcasts or anything like that, or maybe we have him on one day. But
I think we should.
I know that there were definitely times where he was like all in between himself and his horses, like during W Coops or Scoops or whatever, where like he had this big stable and himself playing, you know, max volume, max reentries, whatever, and he was just like all in, but had, you know, 7 figures comfy. And it was just all on the line in one series or whatever. Yeah, he was very fucking aggressive, both on and off the felt.
Yeah.
Relatable. I can totally understand. I've been there.
What's going on?
Chauncey right now.
Chauncey heard about the ox.
I'll scratch your ass.
Chauncey heard about the ox dick that we're all having this summer, and you know, he decided to indulge in a little of his own.
Is that what's for me when I don't wear pants?
Yeah,
Exactly.
God, the sweats look great, kid.
Thank you.
I like this fit.
I do too.
I mean, you know, not for a Michelin star restaurant, but
No.
totally fine for the gym.
If Kanye wore this, they'd let him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not Kanye.
Not yet, I'm
Exactly.
not.
You're not even the white Kanye.
Also,
Not yet, I'm not.
if Conrad wore it, they'd let him in too. So, you know, Kanye, Conrad, same thing.
If you have Con in your name, you're in some capacity.
Amen.
I don't think they would let you in, sir.
I'd bet whatever you want.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of the fine dining type stuff.
What?
Never been my thing. I'd rather cook my own food.
No,
I'd
let
rather
him cook.
do chicken and rice.
You like habanero, right?
I love habanero.
You like Nobu, right?
I like it, but I would rather do other things.
You like to cook.
I like to cook.
You cook.
I do.
You don't want other people to
Sometimes you cook, sometimes you overcook.
cook. You overcook with that 10-3.
I did indeed. Yeah. I played a $500,000 pot with the timing read and I was wrong.
Can we tell the people about the hand?
I think we should. Laszlo Boitas opens button, Omaha for rolls, like legendary high stakes, PLO, Triton guy, like plays everything.
Yeah.
He opens off 150. This is just day 3 of one of the biggest tournaments of online for the year, 10K main.
About $1 million first.
Yep, about
Little over?
$1.03.
Yeah.
I have 183 bigs in the big blind with 2 tables left.
183 bigs.
100.
Is that a lot in a tournament?
183 big blinds.
I had, as my Euro friends like to say, the lot. I had infinite. I defend 10-3 clubs. Flop comes 7-7-6 rainbow with the club. I check. He snap bets quarter pot, and I'm just like, I don't think you snap bet a 7. So I check raise small. He calls. Turns a 6. I'm like, well, if I'm check raising a 6 for protection, getting some ace highs to call and then fold. I go B75, so I go 75% pot, which is like 10 bigs in the 13. He calls. River is an offsuit 8, and I'm not someone that likes giving up. And I was like, well, you could still have aces and kings and queens that can maybe snap bet and then check raise or call check raise, defend turn. Because so many people will check raise barrel and then give up.
How often is he folding the aces and the kings?
Probably not on turn, but on river.
No, on river, I mean.
I think enough.
Obviously, you think enough if you're going to make that play.
I think enough, but at the same time, I was completely wrong in the read, but the snap bet is polar, not linear, where he has a really good hand or he doesn't have a really good hand.
Mm-hmm.
So after he calls flop and turn, it's probably likely he would have folded all of the air on turn.
Right.
But in game, I had a completely wrong read. I just completely messed up. And I was happy that I went for it with the read, but ignorant in the fact of what the read meant.
Right.
And I go for it. He tanks and then calls with king 7. And he's not tanking to fold. He's tanking to think he can free roll me off of a chop. Where if I have a 7 and he jams, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Right? He could just have 7-8. He can have quad 6s.
How much did he have back?
A
how many
lot.
big
I
blinds?
bet 31.
You bet 31?
When he called, if he jammed, he would have jammed for like 90 more.
Oh my
Wait, so you guys are like 1 and 2 in
We
chips?
were 1 and 2 in chips.
My God, would you have like
Yeah.
15% of the chips in play?
I had a lot, man.
So ICM is for poor people is what you're saying.
No, I said it's not for poor people. I just went with the read and I was wrong, you know? And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where people will always look and tell you.
But I mean, after the hand, you still had like over 100 bigs.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I still had 120
Yeah,
bigs
you
or
still had
something.
pals.
Like I was still cooking. Had some post flop spots that were
It
kind of
wasn't
nasty.
like that was the hand that like destroyed you.
It wasn't a hand that destroyed me, but it's definitely a hand where pot value is worth
A lot.
a ton.
A lot.
It's
Also,
worth
he
a
gave
ton.
chips to one of the best players left in the field.
Yeah.
I did do that, you know, but I wanted them for myself. You know, I'm a greedy guy sometimes.
Laszlo is Omaha for rolls, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he got second, absolute legend. 5-bet jammed, ace 4 suited into aces and won.
That's how you become a legend.
You go for it.
No, you stop losing with it.
Yeah, you win it.
Right.
You become a legend when you win. You become the meme cat jammer when you lose.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's ever heard of you whenever you keep ripping the ace 5 and just fucking belting it every
These
single time.
guys on stars in this 10K main were absolute rocket men. Like it goes open 2, click to 4.8, click to 10. It's everyone wants to say they got aces, but everyone knows they're a bunch of rofflers where they're just like, yo.
You know, you've said that word 6 times already
Wafflers,
today,
yeah.
and I don't know what it means.
I was going to let it go because I was pretending like I knew what it
He
meant.
said
but I
it
have
at
no
least
idea.
4 times in the car, and I was just like, he's doing that thing again.
It's like where he picks a word up and then like.
But this is clearly a
starts
British
using it.
term.
Right.
Like, he just spent 3 weeks with Brits.
Right.
I spent 3 weeks with
right.
Espen,
So he
Patrick,
starts
and
using these words
Andy.
and then, but he just expects us to know what it means.
No. He's gatekeeping. He knows we don't know what it means. He's
I don't know
dying for us to ask what it
know
means.
that we don't know what roffler means.
I don't think it's a real word.
Do you know Roffle stands for rolling on the floor, like laughing, rolling on the floor,
Wow,
laughing.
that's so much worse than what I was expecting.
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
for
I
if someone-
hate when people take an acronym and pronounce it phonetically.
well,
Lol.
Oh my God, Phildo used to do that all the
I
time.
don't do that stuff, but yeah,
Instead of laughing,
for the
he would
lols.
literally say "lol."
Mamma Mia. But like, yeah, so like someone that's a roffler, someone that's like a rocket man, you know, like crazy guy, you know, like you're kind of a roffler.
Crazy
Like people
guy.
look at you as a roffler.
Sure,
They see you
sure.
playing a live tournament, they're like, oh,
Regular,
Matt's crazy.
Here, Elton
They're,
John
they're
over
not
there.
wrong.
They see Brian in a tournament.
Actually,
they're
they
like,
are wrong. I've come to realize that in tournaments, I'm just a big giant pussy. I
Are
just
you?
yeah, I don't know when to put all my money in the middle, especially not pre-flop. I'm like 35 blinds. I guess let's see 3. I'm not real
Yeah.
sure here.
Well, the real answer is that the variance the less variance option is jamming, but it feels like the higher variance option.
When I found out that you could just squeeze jam for like 70 with ace king, I'm just like, yo, I don't like this.
I mean, we can do it. It goes open, call. You have ace king.
Man, that was a fun
70
one,
blinds
actually.
and a small. You just
Make it
all
10.
in.
Yeah, so final two tables. Alex Kulev opens cutoff. I 3-bet small blind, 100 effective with ace king off. Kulev, this is final two tables. He is infinite. He's like 4th in chips. I'm like 3rd or 2nd. I have ace king off. I squeeze to 11. He clicks to 23. And I'm like, all right, Alex Kulev, if you got it, buddy. And I just rip 100. And he snap folds the king queen off, where it's just like, you run into it there, it could be danger.
Yeah.
Or win a flip, win it all.
That's the thing. You run into it, you can still win the hand.
No, I get that, but I don't like doing things without any degree of confidence. And I realize that
You're in
I've
the
actually,
wrong game, buddy.
Yeah,
I know.
it's just
but I realize I've actually studied myself out of MTT play. Like I've spent so much time now looking at deep stack, like deep stack, not 100 big blind stuff. When you're studying 100 big blind stuff, you can feel like it translates like, okay, well, at some point in this tournament, I'm going to have 100 big blinds and like, that'll be fun.
yeah, level 1.
Right. But when it does, whenever I have 50, I'm not that far removed from 100 big blind strategy. So I'll figure that out.
You're never
and
gonna
then-
have 500.
Right.
You blow. If I had quads against Omaha
Yeah,
Pros, you could
that's true.
have
If you had 6s there,
320.
yeah, but no one else is going to have more than fucking
Right.
90.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
you have.
So it's like I'm sitting here looking at like when we could start to apply 3E strats at 35 SPR and realizing, oh, this doesn't fucking translate. My brain is completely wired towards big betting rivers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what am I doing out here, man? I have 35 big blinds and ace jack versus a cutoff open. I'm not folding.
See, the thing
Bro, I did somehow. My brain just melted. There was a spot, like 13 left or something. Omaha Rolls opens cutoff. I'm small blind with 35 with ace jack off. And I'm like, I know this hand's supposed to VPIP. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to 3-bet fold here. But at the same time, big blind's kind of a clicker. Laszlo is a clicker, right? He clicks it. It's nasty. Jam seems like a lot. So I just mixed for a 3-bet. And I'm like, all right, sometimes I'm going to mix for one. Flat's not great because if big blind squeezes, you're in this weird spot of do you just call back jam? Because you can't call recall, right? So I just roll a 1 and I'm just so over the hand. I'm so unconfident. It's like what the right idea is. And I'm sure there's something that I'm missing. And I fold and we look at the cards of replay and he just had aces.
Wow.
It was like one of those things, like it was white
Sometimes
magic.
they just have it,
like, I just got terrified. And
It's
maybe,
nice. It's nice whenever you get to scam someone every once in a while. It's a good feeling that you get to just play the cards up replay and find out that it was true.
There was a lot of spots where I had really, really nasty decisions facing Laszlo because he just knows how poker works and knows how to use pressure. Where I would have bluff catchers, but like with ICM, like for chips I would call, but with ICM value, it's that weird in between of like first is $1 million. These pots can be worth so much, and these decisions aren't worth very much at all because you bust and you're out. But I ended up folding a lot of close spots, and it ended up working out where I saw that like he would pot a little bit bigger with value because after the 10-3 hand, it's like, yo, like this guy's a giga whale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame him. So I had like a spot with ace-3 on a 2-tone board, right? Ace-3 with a block, with a suit block, and he goes pot on the turn after big bet flop. And I'm like, man, I think he just thinks I'm just never gonna fold a good hand and just goes for it with value. I just folded. He had ace-7, so like he had a better ace that still played. And it was like, I felt good about making these decisions in game, but I also realized how much work I had to do. Like, poker is so difficult, and of course you're never gonna have all the answers. But there's just so much nuance, especially when high amounts of money are on the line in these final two table
high
spots.
amounts of money with really good
final
players.
table
Yeah.
spots. Like, I'll never play a final table like that tough again. And funny enough, I was sweating playing post flop
That's
so
not true.
much.
Listen, man, don't
Once you start
underestimate
firing
yourself.
all these,
you know?
once you start firing all these tritons, you'll be
Yeah.
one of
you'll
these
be
days,
there.
Maybe.
Yo, I gotta ask you guys a question.
shoot.
What if you have a box at the Bellagio? It's filled with dollars, and then you
Single
go
dollars.
You go to Bellagio today, and then you went to go access your box, and the key's not working. So you get it drilled, and there's no money in it. When there was a bunch of money in it before, because apparently that's what happened to Gordo.
What?
This is
Yeah.
what happened to Gordo right now. He just tweeted it about 15 minutes ago. He said, went to Bellagio today to access my box, and my key was stuck, not opening it. They wind up having to drill it, and when they lift the box out, it's empty. Extremely fucked up situation. If anyone has any insight on best steps, who to contact from here, please reach out.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Doyle's final prank on Gordo was he got every last penny. My guy knew he was on his way out, and he went in there. He goes, "I have one last favor for you guys. I need this one.
No, that's crazy.
Drill Gordo's box."
I'm sure they have cameras, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only reasonable explanation outside of him actually having lost all the money and forgot is that he hadn't accessed his box in a long enough period of time to where they sent something out that said, you know, we're closing your box, yada, yada, yada. Please retrieve your funds prior to X date. And if that's the case, I don't know what happens to the contents of the box.
I can imagine it's been a year. Like, and
maybe.
he's
I don't know
probably here for last summer.
Yeah, maybe. But sometimes they just randomly close boxes. Like, I got my first Bellagio box in like 2011, maybe. And when I went broke midway through 2012, it didn't take them long to close it. It was like 4 months of me not accessing it, and they were just like, your box is closed. They sent me a letter in the mail, and I had to go. It was fucking stone empty. There was just dust in it, but I wanted to get my $100
That's
deposit
crazy.
back.
They sent you a letter in the mail?
Yeah.
Like, who reads letters from the mail?
I mean, luckily I did. I got my $100 key deposit
That's
back.
true,
I
yeah. But like,
fucking gas money, man.
Like, when you should never send anything important through the mail, because most of the time
No.
people are not going to get it.
No, I agree, but like at this point, like, how can you reliably contact somebody? If you call me, I'm not answering.
Text message is the only way.
Agreed. I do agree.
You don't answer phone calls?
Fuck no, man.
No.
I don't
Phone calls?
a dozen
either.
spam calls a day.
Oh, from people you don't know? Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, if someone does know me, they know not to call me.
Really? I love answering phone calls from friends.
Aw, that's so endearing.
You don't like phone calls?
I haven't enjoyed being on the phone since high school.
Unbelievable.
Back when it was the only option.
Unbelievable.
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 You'd
I
rather
gotta
get
give it-
you rather get mail. You'd rather get like a nice letter.
No, well, yeah, because I throw it away. Oh, actually, yeah, that'd be very sweet if like I had a pen pal sent me something nice in the mail. You know, that'd be
Nothing
fun.
like being 41 with a pen pal.
Wow, I didn't say I want a pen pal. I'm just saying that would
You
be
make that happen.
endearing. Yeah, let me hit up the women's prison.
Yeah.
Hello, Monica. It's been 265 days since I've seen you last.
Yeah, you can practice your James Joyce writing.
Yeah, actually, that would be a great endeavor until they get out.
Fucking guy's not answering.
Who?
Landon.
Oh, my phone's on Do Not Disturb, actually.
You
I'll
son
get back
of a
to you.
bitch.
I'll get back to you.
It's a good co-host right there.
Yeah.
Gonna give a huge shout out to our sponsor for the month, WPT Global. Right now, they are running their Prime Online Championship during the WPT Global Spring Festival. Landon put out a little tweet yesterday. Have you announced a winner yet?
I did. I did not announce the winner yet. That is something I have to do for sure.
Okay, so you guys still have a chance to win a seat to the WPT Prime Championship. There are 10 starting days that began all the way back on May 28th. It's going to run until June 4th, so it looks like you guys still have 5 days to get in there and play day one. Landon's giving away one seat over on his Twitter. He'll randomly pick one winner from all those who retweet and comment a screenshot showing a deposit to WPT Global below. Please include your username and user ID. So head on over to Landon's Twitter if you want to try to qualify and you're in a territory where WPT Global is accessible.
Alrighty, I'm gonna head out of here because I'm gonna max reg the Tournament of Champions because, as you know, I won a circuit ring.
You're a champion.
You're a champion.
Ew.
I could potentially be a double champ.
You could.
You know, so
And
we're
it's
gonna
like
have to do
it's
that.
like a super champ because you beat a bunch of other champs.
Right. It's like WWE where they have what is it, Battle Royale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Battle Royale.
Yeah, this is basically that.
Poker's version of Battle Royale.
Right. So you could be the champion of champions.
I have a question.
Please.
Do I get 5% of this?
Did you have 5% of the ring?
You did not.
Probably not, but that's not what I asked.
Oh, I was curious. Well, I saw somebody actually selling for this on Twitter. Soheb was selling for
Yeah,
this.
I saw that too, and he was selling it based off of being a 10K.
Excuse me, what?
It's a 1K.
He's completely trolling.
Bro is overcooking.
Because it used to be a
So
10K.
is that a yes?
Don't do this to me. he's using his platform to scare me. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm gone.
Look, I've made this kid very rich. I want my goddamn return.
If we win the tournament, we'll talk. But we win every. I made you rich. You got 30. You got rich off
I
this.
said I had 30. It's fine.
Yeah. You got 30K.
He thinks I got rich.
Yeah.
I just think I broke even from the fucking tournament that I bricked the day before.
You sold me 5 for that.
Oh yeah, like I said, I got even.
Where's my money?
Oh,
Good luck,
man.
Landon.
Alrighty.
Good luck, Landon.
See you down there.
It's been nice having you back on set.
Yeah. Listen,
Really.
he's got to get there.
There's going to be a lot of in and out this summer.
Yeah.
A lot of what?
A lot of in and out this summer.
There is going to be a lot
There
of in
is.
and
You
out.
know, we're getting it popping, man. It's,
There is. We'll have a lot of guests coming through. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Matt Hunt. Don't forget, if you are a member of this YouTube channel, we will be giving away tag team partnerships tomorrow and every Friday thereafter until everyone's given away.
we're backed up here.
We
didn't give away Guapo yet.
We're giving away 2 tomorrow. We're giving away Guapo and Matt Hunt.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So be sure to brush up on your Matt Hunt and El Guapito trivia, as we'll be asking you guys some very important questions in order to see if you qualify.
So somebody gets to play with Matt Hunt and somebody gets to play with me. Woo.
Yes, exactly.
2 very lucky winners. We'll also
One
be
a little
giving
bit luckier
away.
than the other.
Yeah, you could decide. We'll also be giving away some fun stuff for WPT Global. So for all of you who are not members of the YouTube channel but are in a qualifying territory, we'll be giving away some value there in tickets and other interesting things. I'll have to talk to the team and see what they have available for us to give away. Getting into the shits, we had our first bracelet
We did.
yesterday. The employees event wrapped. One Peter Ty won the casino employees event.
Let's go.
$75,500. He actually beat friend of the podcast James Urbanic. Heads up, that's P-Man Poker for anybody who is
Nice run, P-Man.
out there in the Discord channels. He's in pretty much every single fucking one of them. So he got second place for $4,600. I believe he sold half of himself on
46,000.
or sorry, 46,000. Casino event small. It's not that small. I believe he sold half of himself on the new staking platform that Josh Arie runs, which I can't name because I want to say
PokerStake.com.
Pocket Fives.
I thought it was for another reason. I'm like, wait, what?
So it's pokerstaking.com?
PokerStake.com.
PokerStake.com. Okay. Yeah. So congratulations to everybody who invested in P-Man. You guys are going to get a little bit of a return. The 25K 6 max is going to play down to a winner today. There are 9 remaining. And I think we got to talk about this, man.
You got to talk about it?
I think we got to talk about
The
this.
snake is in the grass.
WSOP is kind of a standalone in the sense that they don't really take a hard stance on these, I don't know what to call it,
Community issues.
blacklists within the community. If you recall, Ferguson not only returned a handful of years ago after kind of fading into the background for a while, but then just went on and won Player of the Year. Max late regging every fucking event, cashing everything in sight.
Yep.
And to be honest, I know this is probably a pretty unpopular opinion, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with Chris coming back and playing WSOP events. And I thought that it was a little bit out of line by the people who kind of took it upon themselves to really lay into him. I'm mostly saying this because I don't know the inner workings of the Full Tilt hierarchy when it came to decisions. But imagine, if you will, that, like, you know, I turned Solve for Y into some massive company, an online poker site or something like that, and it ultimately proved to be a complete Ponzi. But I didn't let you two in the know. And then you guys went and played WSOP events and were completely fucking torched because you were a part of something that, you know, was a little bit nefarious. I'm not saying he wasn't involved. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. All we know for sure is that he wrote the software. So, like, I always thought that that was a bit blown out of proportion, especially since everybody ultimately was paid back. But this stuff now with I'ma steal your bitch and the snake, it's a little bit different, right? Like, we are positive, like, there's confirmation from the platforms in which they were cheating on that, and granted, it's only confirmation through the fact that they're banned, but it's confirmation nonetheless. It's positive confirmation nonetheless. They've taken millions out of this community, right? They've gotten rich off the backs of everybody else who's out here trying to earn an honest living. And I think that, like, it would be nice to see support from the WSOP side. It's the biggest festival in our community. It's only once a year. I don't know what the status is of these guys on WSOP.com. If I had to guess, I would imagine that they're banned. I haven't seen either of their names on there since all of this broke. But I know that they are seemingly not banned from the WSOP. And as far as I know, that's the only major live festival that they're not banned from. We heard this time last year from Triton, from PokerGo, from EPTs, as well as WPT, I believe. That one I'm a little less certain on, but I'm pretty sure they were a part of the alliance that was kind of following the lead with the Council of Integrity. And WSOP kind of just stands alone at this point, where they're the only ones that haven't taken a hard stance on this. I'm not sure why. I don't know who even makes these decisions, and if there's a particular legality reason, or if they just don't want to set a precedence where the community has this kind of ability to. This cat is fucking awful.
It's funny because that monitor now is in real time.
Right.
So
it's like looking in a mirror for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they don't want to take the step, but it's really frustrating not to just see, Jake out there competing, but winning, right? He won a bracelet last year. There's that famous image of him just sitting alone at the table, which was so perfect. Yeah. All things considered. And now he is like, I think 7 of 9. Let me see here.
Yeah, something like
he's 8 of 9.
8 of 9. Yeah, there. I sent the article. And yeah, I don't want to give this too much attention because whatever. The guy doesn't really deserve the shine at this point, but he's a very good player, obviously. And the way in which he got good isn't necessarily a lack of hard work. It's that he was overly compensated for that work, right? Like, the big thing that people need to understand is whenever it comes to using RTA, what's happening is these guys are being paid a massive hourly to basically mimic or to execute GTO strategies. And of course, that'll get burned into your brain. You'll learn a lot in the process. So imagine if, like, while you were using a GTO trainer, you're also getting paid $1,500 an hour. You'd learn a lot and get very wealthy in the process, so that when you were finally refined, you'd get to fire the biggest things in the world.
Right.
It's just, it's something I wish we did a better job of scrutinizing.
What do you think the link between GG and WSOP over the next coming years? Do you think that would change this at all?
I'm really not sure, because GG kind of had that open door policy where they just like welcomed everybody back, right? And pretty much everybody got to appeal, and almost everybody got reinstated. The exception, obviously, being the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure if that softens the stance, or if it could potentially lead to them applying a little bit of pressure to WSOP and saying, like, look, we need you to get on board. My guess is that they won't have that level of influence, but I'm not really sure, to be honest. And the biggest reason why I say that I don't think they'll have that level of influence is because I don't think GG ultimately cares that much. I think that they just did something publicly that looked very good for them as a brand, and looked like made it appear as though they really do care about the community.
Agreed, but this Integrity Council, they do care to a certain extent. Like,
I would think so, yeah.
People care, and I think that they might be the voice behind pushing something like that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, what seems obvious to me is that guys like Rob Young, who are able to move a lot of big pieces behind the scenes, it's like a hard stop between every other live, event or company or whatever that's going on. Like, he has good relationships with almost all of them because they all have some sort of online gaming running in the background.
Yeah.
And then there's WSOP. They got legalized in Nevada. That's the sole place that they operate. In the United States, that's the sole place that they operate. And they are just very much marching to a beat of their own drum, which it's fine. Again, like, I'm not even trying to be critical here. I'm just like kind of disappointed. It's one of those things where it's like, I hate to see somebody rewarded that has been completely outed as someone that has stolen from this community. Right? It was nice last year to have the peace of mind to hear that they're just not welcome to make money in our game any longer. And I think that when we look at other games, that is just across the board the stance that they take. If we look at chess, there isn't a world where somebody gets found out to be a cheater and they don't get banned in the crossover, right? Like, I don't recall what ended up happening with the Magnus Carlsen accusations of, was it Hans or Jans, whatever? I don't remember what the final outcome of that was, but I believe that all of the evidence of him being banned on chess.com for having cheated in online games translated over to live.
Yeah.
And he basically got removed from competitive play.
Okay.
Right? I just don't see any reason, especially when we're gambling for real money, that we wouldn't operate under the same pretense. Where it's like, okay, well, we just have a known cheater who's blacklisted across the world. Why on earth are we making an exception? It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And it's like, I get it. Maybe, the Win isn't going to take a hard stance on them either, or the Venetian or whatever. But like, okay, so they can play one fucking event a year. You know what I mean? Like, they get to play the one drop. That's it. And honestly, maybe not even that, because I think that has a WPT partnership to it. Right.
Yep.
Right. So like, they just get to play a Win championship event. Like, they're reduced to playing 3,500s across America.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a win for us. It's a big win, not a 25K 6 max where, he comes in 8 of 9 at a star-studded final table, led by the Frenchman Axel Haley. Chris Moore is in second place with 45 big blinds. Joey Weissman third with 42 big blinds.
Let's go, Joey.
Oh my God, I love this man. We became friends through Nick Howard and Poker Detox, and I'm about to butcher his fucking name. It's so bad. I'm just the worst. But it's Alexander Volomir. God, I was literally just DMing with him earlier too. It's like, I just can't get this right.
Alex V.
Yeah,
Alex
I'm
V.
sure he'll correct me when I see him next, which I appreciate. He's in fourth. Sean Winter in fifth. Chance Cornice in sixth. Renlin in seventh. And Elior Cian in ninth place with 12 big blinds, or tied for eighth, I guess.
Ren fucking Lin, man.
Bro, he has so much fun.
He's the best.
He has so much fun.
Love him.
He was like 2 tables away the entire time, and he's just like enjoying every run out, every hand. Just like having a blast.
He's honestly the
Way to do
best.
it.
Like, he is what poker should be.
Yeah, this is
great.
This is gonna be a fun final table to watch play out. I think it's gonna be the first streamed event from PokerGo, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the employees event was yesterday, but I don't believe so.
Final 6, right? Because it's 6 max.
Yeah, final
I
6.
don't
So
think it was
9 left. It'll actually probably be final 7. I think they usually consolidate unofficial final table of 7.
This is all paywall, right?
I believe so. Yes.
I think. Don't they do like the first hour or something? They put it for free on
Maybe.
YouTube. They did that last year where they did like an hour for free, and then you want to watch it wrap up, you got to go behind the paywall. I think. I don't know if they're doing it again this year, but it would make sense.
Yeah. I'm not positive, but I know that like the entirety of it will be on PokerGo for sure.
Right.
Man, yeah, a lot of sickos out there. A lot of guys going for their first bracelets. I'm pretty sure Alexander doesn't have one. Does Weissman have one?
Weissman?
Yeah.
Probably somewhere along the line.
God, does Weissman have a...
I feel like he's just been in a winner's photo, so I want to say he does,
I want to say he does too. I'm actually gonna go look,
but I'm not positive.
Joey's won everything. He just wins, man. He's the best.
Yeah, Chance in the mix also. Sean Winter, of course, went for a high price in this year's fantasy for a reason. He's there calling out fucking people's hands. Like, this guy is a goddamn alien, man. He just has deck reads like I've never seen before in my entire life. So yeah, it'll be curious to see how that shakes out. Hopefully, we can dispatch of he who shall not be named early, and we don't have to deal with him making the TV final table. But we shall see, I suppose. The other major talking point before we get out of here is WSOP and the Win both made announcements yesterday with regards to how they're going to deal with accessing charts, databases, lookup databases such as GTO Wizard, etc. And there are two different stances, which I think poses a problem. We can run the WSOP announcement first. I think this interview with Jack was pretty good. What am I hearing that through?
No.
Mute this. How did we hear that?
Sorry,
that's on me.
Technical issue, my fault.
I was just wondering. Yeah, but like, has my voice been echoing the whole time through there?
No.
It was on pretty low enough.
Oh,
that
okay.
Yeah, it was,
That's
it
very
was super low.
Okay, good. I thought that this was really good by Jack to clarify. I thought that his points were very proper, and they were made very succinctly. He just wanted and this is kind of what Jeff and Brent were alluding to whenever they were talking about the interpretation of that rule. But I think that clarity was necessary because when we read the rule initially, it was like, okay, very harsh penalties were going to be doled out. DQs at a minimum and potentially 86 for life, right? So there were a lot of there's a lot of fallout here if you do get caught. But that was all specific for if you used it while in a hand, which is critical in my opinion. Like, we have to police what's going on while you're in the hand. We can't have people getting real-time information, right? What was left up for interpretation, though, was what happens in between hands. Are you okay to be looking at, a push-fold chart? Are you okay to be looking at, something like GTO Wizard where you're looking up a previous hand that was played minutes ago, hours ago, days ago, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, basically, are you allowed to study in between hands? And it was really left up to interpretation because the language in the statement that came out through the Poker News article was such that basically said, you're free to do as you choose, but if the staff deems you to be doing something nefarious, then we will punish you harshly. And it's subject to the tournament director. And it was like, everybody kind of freaked out in the sense of like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you're not being clear at all with regards to what that entails. And Jack was abundantly clear here now in the interview. What he said was he wanted to leave it open to interpretation because he wanted to be able to be flexible should something that they overlooked or not be able to clearly define in the rule take place, such as you look at GTO Wizard and text a friend who's in a hand and he just has his phone resting in front of him and gets the response, right? Now, the actual practical ability to do that is near zero if we're policing people being on the phone in the hand, right?
Right.
Because to both send and receive text messages while you're in a hand would already be a violation. Mm-hmm. So he kind of already covered his bases prior to that by being very or by heavily scrutinizing people who are in a hand with live cards not being on their phone. But this is kind of a fail-safe of like, okay, well, we reserve the right to police both parties involved should these rules get broken. Great. I think that's fantastic. I'm happy with the rule as it stands. I think the clarification is really important for everybody to understand. I would have also been fine with him saying, like, you can't be on anything. You can't look at push-fold charts. You can't utilize any of these tools if you're in the tournament area. I would have been fine with that as well.
And that's the
which is the win stance. What I'm not fine with is them taking two different stances. And the reason being is that the way poker works is that the most popular venue, the place that houses the most consumers and has the highest foot traffic, is generally going to be the policymaker. It's going to be what we defer to as the overall policy that dictates the market, right? We defer to the Bellagio and maybe now a little bit more so the Aria, but in the past, I mean, I can remember being in Pittsburgh and us calling the Bellagio and asking about a ruling to a floor person. Yeah. And them just like, telling you. It's like, okay, well, this is how the Bellagio does it, therefore this is the rule.
I wonder if it's maybe because it's too soon or they didn't have a chance to, but like to make this a TDA rule, right?
Well,
I mean that would only involve tournaments, but like I think that's what we're talking about here at the moment.
Yeah, I think we're mostly talking about MTTs, right. But also with the TDA summit, it's not there's no like rule book.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there might be, but the thing is it's still subjective to every room.
Yeah, I guess
you don't have to abide by what TDA rules are,
right? Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, you could put it as like the TDA rules, and then you say that our room abides by the TDA rules. Now
Correct.
It's in the rule.
Yeah.
Right?
So I agree with you.
Yeah. So then they just get together and say, listen, this is the stance on these charts, and using them whether you're in the area, whether you're in a hand, when you're out of the hand, you're at the table, whatever it is, they come to an agreement, and then that's the rule. That way everybody knows, and there's not this one house has one rule, the other house has another rule, and I'm thinking I'm in one house and this and that.
So ultimately what I think happens here is that this becomes a very harsh rule and a harsh penalty by the win, because tens of thousands of people are going to interpret the rule differently from WSOP.
Right. They're going to be like, oh, it's okay to be like, at the table or even away from the table.
Correct.
and looking at a chart. Now someone does it at the win and boom, you're
Correct.
gone.
We saw this happen with the big blind ante. Not every room would adopt the same uniform rule of ante first or big blind first.
Exactly.
And even to this day, I'm not sure across the rooms who does what.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll do
ante first.
Ante first.
Ante first is now, I think
I know for a fact win was big blind first, at least was, early.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it still is or not.
I think everybody now is ante first.
Okay. In my opinion, obviously, not that this is a side tangent, but like ante first is most player friendly. And I think that that's the easiest thing to do.
Ante first, it's most player friendly?
No, big blind first is the most.
Oh, right. So, sorry. So it was the inverse. Win was ante first.
Right. People say, well, all I can win is my ante back.
Yeah.
But essentially what you're doing is you're paying for the ante for every free hand you have, and then you pay it all at once at the big blind. So that's why it goes in first.
No, I understand why.
I'm telling, not you, I'm telling
He's telling the people.
Right. But like, and that's a justifiable reason, but there's a counter argument to that too, where it's just like, okay, well then I would just rather pay my ante individually. Like there's a counter argument against the big blind ante then, if that's the logic that you use, because strategically then it's just better for everybody if they're paying their own individual ante each hand, right? Because you get to make more informed decisions leading up to anteing yourself off effectively, and playing a pot for a return on exactly what you invested.
But like you said, it's best to have it the uniform so you know exactly what the rule is, and then you base your strategy around that. Yeah.
Is WSOP for sure ante first? Because they were always hard on big blind first. It was the win that was the ante first.
I think it was the WSOP was the only place that was
big blind
first. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's changed there, but I do know everywhere. I'm pretty sure everywhere else.
So this is the problem, right? We don't even know ourselves.
I don't know if it's changed there, but I do know, pretty sure that everywhere else is changed.
And the only reason that I know it to be relatively assumed to be anti-first is because Savage has made such a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But really what it comes down to is the most opinionated version of a policymaker is going to be the one who ultimately sets the trend or the precedent,
And
right?
Did we say? I don't think we said exactly what the win rule was, which is you cannot be in the tournament area at all.
Correct.
With a chart on your phone.
Right.
So like if you are in the tournament area, you just pull up Flop the Wall or GTO Wizard or what have you, they can kick you out of the tournament.
Yeah. So that becomes a pretty harsh penalty now for anybody who's mostly playing the WSOP, isn't really privy. So, I mean, obviously it's on us as a community to get that message out, but not everybody's watching these podcasts. Not everybody's watching Twitter or the spaces. And most importantly, the people who aren't involved in social media, in the community in the way that we all are the people that are most casual, right? So you're actually now levying the harshest penalty to the most casual of players. And I think that that's really shitty because they're going to understand and interpret the rules of this game off of the biggest player in the market, which is WSOP. So unfortunately, like, they do get to set the tone for these policies. And when you're a bit of a detractor or you take it to the next level and make it a little bit harsher, it's fine, but it kind of just makes you a contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, right? Like, Win is going to take a harsher stance on this. They believe it helps the integrity of the game a little bit more. And look, I don't care which one is executed, right? I just really want it to be uniform. I basically want either WSOP to adopt what everybody else is adopting or vice versa. Everybody to adopt what WSOP is adopting, because I think it's going to be a really unfortunate situation when somebody says, like, at WSOP, this is fine. And the response is, this isn't WSOP.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where the max exposure is coming from. That's where all the TV time is coming from. That's where the biggest foot traffic during the summer is coming from. People are just going to generally learn the rules and policies, especially when they're new and they're being relatively newly enforced. With how harsh the penalty is for disobeying this one, I think it would be a really unfortunate turn of events, I guess, if somebody is, like, 3 feet away from the table
and looking at a chart
Yeah.
Or even on break, you could be coming back, like, in the tournament area where there's like 3 minutes on break and you're just looking at it, and then, like, you're in the tournament area, like,
right,
is that grounds for disqualification?
Right. Of course, like,
right.
The most obvious one would be you're just at the table in between hands,
right? Yeah.
I find it to be especially strange too, because the Win already has a harsher penalty for being, or not a harsher penalty, but they scrutinize being on your phone mid-hand more than WSOP, because WSOP lets you play WSOP.com. The Win doesn't. So like, there's a zero tolerance of being on your phone with live cards.
So I think for the players, for everybody out there that's playing this summer and all these different venues, listen, till this all gets sorted out and we get a uniform rule, just don't use these charts while you're around the tournament area or wherever you're at. Just don't do it, because, like, that's the safest way to keep yourself from getting disqualified, or maybe you weren't doing something nefarious, but it's going to be interpreted that way. So just stay off these charts and these solvers until everything gets sorted out and you know what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah, I don't mean to be the person who, like, just kind of levels the the facade that's being built here, but just get a fucking screen protector. No matter what you intend on doing, just like get, because, like, here's the thing. Okay, all of these policies are being made. That's great. But outside of a floor person walking behind you when you're doing something,
right?
It's literally like the likelihood of you getting caught cheating on a math test. If the teacher doesn't actually catch you red-handed, you're fine. And I'm not saying that to encourage.
I know. I'm just
trying.
Like, Berkey thinks that Berkey's telling people how to cheat.
Right, of
you know
course.
how people are, but no, like, right.
Look, we should stress test every single system, every single policy, everything that's out there. And in this situation, whenever it's clearly not going to be policed very easily, and even whenever it is by your peers, like, if I see you doing something, it becomes a he said, she said. This is a fucking mess. Like, this just isn't the right way to go about it. I understand it's a good temporary solution, and I'm glad that the conversation is open and continuing to move forward. I really will be bothered if this is where the policymakers stop. And they think like, oh, well, we solved that problem.
Yeah.
We just fucking haven't, right? Because right now, this is going to be effective because these tools are relatively ineffective, right? They're just not worth that much.
It's a slippery slope too. Like imagine just watching a YouTube video and you're watching GTO check or 2-card confidence and he
Right.
puts up a hand matrix. Like someone could easily be like, oh, this guy's cheating. It's like, no, I'm just watching a YouTube video. It's just it's such a slippery slope.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that and like the other thing is too, like what then happens, right? So you get accused and you say, no, I didn't. And the guy next to you says, yes, I did. And the TD says, let me see your phone. And you say, fuck off.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this earlier, and I think how it pretty much would play out would be like, say someone accused you at the table of doing this. I think the tournament director would come over. Yeah, I don't think they would ask like, give me your phone. I don't think that's how it would go down. I think more it would be like, you know, we're going to be watching you, or like, you know, he says you did this, but we can't prove it. Do not use this kind of software on your phone while you're in this area, and you know, you will be watched. So it's kind of like as like a warning of like, you know, I think that's how it would go down. I can't imagine being like, give me your phone, because what are you gonna say? Fuck you.
Well, that's the thing. So that's the thing. Like, it's a private business. So if they say, like, let me see your phone, I want to see what you've been looking at, and you say no.
And then they say, hey, if you don't give me your phone, you're out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think it would come to that, but again, you don't know. You don't really know.
It's a weird slippery slope. And look, like I fully understand the complexity of the problem, and I have the utmost sympathy for the guys that are in charge that have to define these policies and figure out ways to execute them. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm just saying, like, I'm totally happy with this as a temporary solution. I just hope that we as a community and like those that are in charge to make policy don't think that this is in any way, shape, or form a solution, right? Like, this is a temporary deterrent, and it's going to again function because right now these tools are all but useless, but they're not going to be useless forever. Mm-hmm. You know, we just saw today that GTO Wizard and Ruse are now one. GTO Wizard has acquired Ruse. This is going to be massive for the software development side of this industry. GTO Wizard is huge. It's a big platform. They're going to be now a much more powerful platform, having one of the best AI solvers on the market at their beck and call, right? So right now it's currently just a lookup database that has pretty limited function, and though it's pretty easy for us to utilize as a study tool, it's not that easy to use as a lookup tool in real time or you know, future time if you're trying to look at the next push forward or what have you, because all of that's very dynamic. But if it gets to the point where, you know, something like Ruse becomes app-based and it's just at your fingertips where you can run a solve in 5 seconds, all you have to do is have the parameters, and, you know, maybe even take that a step further where they execute the GTO Wizard interface where it's literally just a click-through function.
Yeah.
And you get the solve in real time. I mean, we're looking at something that is going to be potentially very powerful as software assistance, right? So it's going to take a lot of coordination between the guys who are developing the software, the policymakers, the operators, everybody who is at the head of this industry needs to be working together in coordination to ensure that safety protocols and measures are put into place, to ensure that security can stay at least on par with those who are looking to cheat, if not a step ahead. And these discussions are going to be ongoing. They're going to be endless, right? Like with every single passing day, a new development is going to come from the software side. And understand that, like, I know everybody's going to like go very Chicken Little and say like, oh no, the sky's falling. Like, we have to put the genie back in the bottle. You know, not only can you not, but just understand if this stuff is already available public, it's been private for a while, right? These things exist always at the highest levels. The people who are making the most money are the first to access these tools. So privately, like, this stuff has already been developed. It's already been accessible, right? People have already been utilizing it for good, bad, or indifference. right? So we have to work in coordination with the software developers, with the people who are engineering these tools, get some sort of policy out there that is uniform across the community that says, X, Y, and Z will be acceptable or not acceptable at our venue. And try to make it as uniform as possible because, as we mentioned, it's going to be critical for people that are playing a lot of volume in one place and then a low amount of volume or moderate amount of volume in another place to not get caught up in a trap. Ryan from the Win actually did just text me and he said, basically just a reminder, like it's not an automatic DQ if you get caught.
Yeah.
It's going to be an escalation where if you're a multiple offender, then it'll lead to DQ.
Okay.
So there is going to be a buffer there,
right,
for people to kind of get accustomed to the rule, to understand that it is different than WSOP. That's a fucking headache though for your staff. When you got to start issuing out yellow cards over and over again before you get to the red card, and it becomes a lot of like kindergarten behavior of like, teacher,
it'll be interesting to see how much of a problem this actually is, right? Like they put these rules in place and maybe they don't have to enforce it all summer.
Well, that's
right?
the thing, man.
Right?
Like the rule hasn't been there or it's loosely been there for how long. These tools aren't new.
Right.
Snapshove's been around for 7 years. I think
But
I've
now
heard of
there's
like
actually like a tangible, like, hey, if you use this, you're going to get a warning, you're going to get a DQ, or you're going to get this.
Sure.
So like, let's just see how often that they actually have to enforce this rule amongst players. And maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised to see that like
that's my point.
It's not a big of an issue as people think.
But that's my point. Like with a penalty or not, like we just hear about people who are caught doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's been like less than a half a dozen cases in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of poker being played.
Right. There's a lot of poker being played. These tools have always been readily available. A lot of people have been studied. The only reason why it's becoming more of a conversation now is because these tools are trickling down to the greener players that are now coming out of the woodwork. So people who are just pretty fresh to poker.
Yeah. And as far as tournaments go, I mean, the rule has always been in place that you can't be on your phone during a hand. So like that's already in place to really protect people from actually using this in real time.
Yeah.
So I think moving forward as the technology grows and advances, I think this is going to become more of a cash game issue.
Agreed. And that actually is where we've seen it pretty heavily policed. We've seen people like socially shamed.
Yeah.
Of like this kid is in a hand and he has wizard pulled up.
Right. Because you can just be on your phone during cash game.
Right.
It's not,
and
not really.
It's ironic because this did happen at the Bellagio a few months back. And there was no discussion. There was no heated debate about like what is okay, what's not okay. We just immediately accepted that if you're doing this while you're in a hand, you're fucking bounced. And if you're doing it in between hands, no one gives a shit.
Right.
And the reason being is because you're dealing with depth. So no spot is as simple as looking up push fold.
Right.
But what people don't understand is there isn't as much value to understanding push fold. I mean, of course, it's greater than not understanding push fold, but tournaments have a lot more nuance and intricacy to them as well. So, Poker Boss came out and said, look, at MGM Properties, we have a zero tolerance for this. If you're caught in a hand using software, boom, that's it. You're out of the game. Like, see ya.
Yeah.
And everybody was just like, great, that's perfect. Why we're not just applying the exact same thing to MTTs? Like why we're overreacting to this push fold nonsense is beyond me. That's been around for a decade, maybe even longer. There's all the way back to Jason McConnon at the WSOP main event feature table is staring at fucking charts. There was people talking about how Polk had like look up charts whenever he won his turbo bracelet and was looking at him in between hands. It's like, bro, this is nothing new.
Right.
This stuff has been going on for a long time. It just doesn't, it's mostly peace of mind. Sure, maybe like really sharp players are getting a pip of EV because they know their boundaries a little bit more clearly, but like they were never far off to begin with, and they're already doing better than the average. It kind of is what it is. We have to just suffer through a little bit of fallout from technology, I think, at the end of it all. But like we have to be very critical not to allow the RTA type of shit. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this develops moving forward. I imagine it's going to be a conversation that we continue through out the series. I think to Brian's point, like it'll be curious to see how many people, if any, are even reported or penalized for this. honestly, if I was setting a line, I would put it at like 2
Right.
and probably take the under.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, so I really don't think this is end of days. The sky's not falling. We're all going to be just fine.
Yep.
Want to get out of here on a little bit of a light note. I did a podcast with the girls over at Ace Holes. Brian and I, we filmed a fun little skit. If you don't want to watch the hour-long interview, you can skip to the end. They did some timestamps on it. Really fun bit.
I have a future in acting.
Yeah, I think
You
so too.
too.
You,
Such a relief to be
you
done
crushed
with
it.
the drama.
About that, we're a little concerned about some photos that came into our possession.
Did the lights just go out?
Don't worry about it. Pal,
Hey guys, did I hear my name?
I told you to wait in the car. I can handle it.
I'm not happy about it. Nikki's not happy about it.
take a look at this file and tell me what you see.
It's just such a relief to be done with the drama.
Taste for the kids, you
We're a little
know.
concerned.
You guys wanna head on over to well, you can just follow the link if you follow them on Twitter at AceHolesPod. I think also on YouTube you can find them at AceHolesPod.
Right.
If you want to check that one out. It was a fun interview. I've done a lot of podcasts and we've covered a lot of the same topics over and over again, but it was a little bit more casual, I think, knowing Nikki and Caitlin pretty well. So be sure to give them a little bit of love. Head over there, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and do the same for us. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps us out a ton. If you're a regular, you know, as always, smash that like button, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of the new policies, both at the WSOP and WPT. If the inconsistencies you think are going to be a problem, go ahead and let us know in the comments below. We will be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll be joined by Matt Hunt. We're going to cover a couple strategy conversations, maybe a few hands. Not really sure yet, but most
Matt Hunt
importantly,
he bagged a mystery bounty.
he did. He's going to pluck that million. I can feel it. Most importantly, tomorrow we're going to be giving away 2 seats to the tag team event at the WSOP. One of you will win a partnership with El Guapo. The other will win a partnership with Matt Hunt. So be sure to brush up on your trivia of both, as we'll be firing out questions tomorrow in order to give away these seats. We'll also be giving away a little bit of stuff from WPT Global, our feature sponsor for the month of May and June. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys then.
Peace.